We're now at 121 attendees. It's a wonderful turnout. Thanks to everyone for coming. I'll start again. My name is Stephen Nairn. I'm the director of the Fortunoff Video Archive for Holocaust Testimonies here at Yale. Tonight, the Fortunoff Archive is delighted to present the work of Zisl Slepovitch and his ensemble featuring Sasha Lurje. The songs you're about to hear are taken from the second volume of recorded works based on the testimonies from the archive. After the concert, you can learn more about this ongoing project and listen to both volumes 1 and 2 and watch excerpts from the testimonies at the project's accompanying website, songsfromtestimonies.org. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Evan Graves from the Yale Institute for Sacred Music and Rabbi Jason Rubenstein at the Joseph Slifka Center for Jewish Life at Yale for their generous support of this concert. I'd like to give you just a few bits of information about the Fortunoff Video Archive. The archive began taping testimonies in New Haven in 1979. At the time, it was called the Holocaust Survivors Film Project, or HSFP, and it was a local grassroots effort by survivors and supporters in the New Haven area. It was the brainchild of Dr. Dori Laub, himself a survivor from Chernowitz, a psychiatrist and analyst, and Laurel Vlach, a television journalist at Channel 8. They had the support of the New Haven survivor community from the very beginning, particularly in the form of a man named William Rosenberg, who was a survivor from Częstochow, Poland. And Willie became the president of the HSFP, helped organize the tapings, raising funds for the tapings, and holding meetings in his home. The collection came to Yale in 1981, thanks to the work of Professor Jeffrey Hartman. Jeffrey, too, was a survivor of Nazi-occupied Europe, having fled Frankfurt on a Kindertransport for the UK. And his wife, Renee, was one of the first 4 survivors taped by the Holocaust Survivors Film Project in 1979. Jeffrey helped fund a home for the collection at Manuscripts and Archives at Sterling Memorial Library. And under his watch as faculty advisor, it grew to become an internationally renowned collection that over the years has influenced the way the history of the Holocaust is studied, written, and taught. Now, the collection contains something like 4,400 testimonies, 12,000 hours of recorded material in over a dozen languages recorded over the last 40 years in over a dozen countries. Each testimony in the collection is really a world unto itself, functioning almost like an audiovisual autobiography, because we use an open-ended methodology that allows for a great deal of spontaneity and freedom for the individual to tell their story the way they desire. Because of this, it's no wonder that song and poetry appear in so many testimonies. Historian Timothy Snyder, the archive's faculty advisor, has said that video testimony, like works of art, have a special ability to cross the membrane between death and life, between past and present. The singing of these songs can't happen in a written source the same way. They can only happen in an audio or audiovisual source. The collection, preservation, and presentation of musical performances like these also places this project in a long line of venerable ethnomusicological projects that stretch back to the early 20th century, when individuals like Shanansky went on expeditions to record the musical heritage of a Jewish society that was disappearing due to modernization, urbanization, and political turmoil. Ansky called this work salvage ethnography. This impetus to collect and record, this goal of salvaging what was left, continued through the war and into the post-war period following the Holocaust, with the recordings of songs by David Boder and D.P. Camps, and later the work of the Fortunoff Video Archive. My point is simply, we are not the first to recognize the significance of musical expression as a means for understanding the past, and that most certainly applies to the understanding of the multilingual, multicultural world where European Jews lived and died during the Holocaust. And with that, I would like to introduce Zisl Slepovitch, the Fortunoff Video Archive's musician in residence.
Thank you, Stephen. Songs from Testimonies in the Fortunoff Video Archive is a project that explores and artistically presents music and poetic pieces performed by survivors in testimonies given to the archive. Some of the songs were from the pre-war period, some of them gained new meaning during the Holocaust, playing many different roles, but often songs work to sustain people psychologically in the unimaginable conditions when even the very act of singing a song required enormous effort. Some of the songs are not idiomatically Jewish. They might be songs from the past that acquired new topical lyrics. There are songs of struggle and resistance. many songs that are satirical in nature, songs documenting people suffering, songs naming the traitors and collaborationists. There are even overtly anti-Semitic songs that survivors nevertheless chose to perform. This project began several years ago when Dr. Sarah Garibova, former Fortunoff Video Archive Hartman Fellow, began research on the testimony of Lyubov K., a survivor of the slave labor camp in Zvenigorodka, Ukraine. In her testimony, Lyubov recounts several songs and poems. Later, Stephen Naran, the archive's director, invited me to transcribe and perform the songs, and the project has grown from there. When I started working on this collection in 2018, I only had a sense of the richness, depth, and breadth of the material I would be examining. The more I listened to the testimonies, the more I found myself placing them in many different contexts: European, Soviet, Jewish, musicological, ethnographical, and so on. When Stephen asked me to record these songs, it became obvious to me that I had to contract an ensemble, a vocalist and instrumentalist musicians that would be the right fit for this very challenging material. Among those challenges, to name just a few, are the extremely wide range of musical styles and many languages in which the vocalist would have to convincingly perform. In the 2 volumes of Songs from Testimonies, Sasha Lurje sings Yiddish, Hebrew, Polish, German, Russian, mixed Yiddish-German, and French. The 2 volumes have been the most stylistically and linguistically diverse albums that I have ever recorded or produced. To ensure that each song is represented in a historically authentic manner, a great deal of multidisciplinary research is required even before the song is transcribed and arranged. From the very beginning of this project, I have been very fortunate to work with Joshua Kemp, who plays the accordion, piano, and the guitar, with bassist Dmitry Ishenko, violinist Craig Udelman, and vocalist Sasha Lurje. Mariana Slepovitch appears on 2 songs in Volume 2 on the tsimbali, a Belarusian string instrument similar to the hammered dulcimer. As time passes, we obviously are moved farther away from the origins of the source material, but our hope is that anyone listening to these songs will be driven to also learn more about the survivors who sang them. These songs represent many things, including stories of loss and survival, stories that are still important to hear today when we are experiencing a new upheaval of hateful chauvinistic ideas and ideologies. Anti-Semitism itself, sadly, is hardly a thing of the past. Music, in a way different from a verbal story, has the power to educate, to challenge people's thinking. Although I hope I'm not being naive, I do sincerely hope that this will be true for these recordings as well.
We will begin our program tonight with a song In the Neverke. Lily M. was born in 1924 in Vilna, now Vilnius, Lithuania, then Poland. In her testimony, Lily recalls growing up in an assimilated, affluent home, as well as the rise of anti-Semitism from 1935. At some point, Lily was transported to the external slave labor camp Dunaverke, Dinaverke in Yiddish, in Kaiserwald, in the outskirts of Riga, Latvia. According to Lily's testimony, her friend Tosia had escaped with her parents from Lodz to Vilna in 1939 and composed and sang this song. Lily characterized Tosia as a very talented poet. Tosia did not survive the war. Lily believed she may have died of typhus in Germany around the time of the liberation in 1945.
teichun Wald seinen do jeden von gar der Welt arbeiten alle schwer auf der Kält in draußen noch finster der Glock zu der Arbeit ruft es ziehen sich Reihen es scheuchelt der Wind jeden fahr mich spät fahr wenn man sieht der Tag scheint fort über die Sonne lang vergangen sie gehen zurück sich mit langsamer Tritt von ganzen Tag Arbeit seinen sie mit. Für uns in eigen Land und wir wollen arbeiten für uns in eigen Land.
I would like to turn to the musicians and ask them to speak about their experiences working with this material on both albums. Joshua Camp was the first one of this band who encountered songs from Testimonies.
Thank you. Yeah, I was involved from the very first duo performances, and it's been lovely to watch this project grow and expand to what it is today. Zisl uses the term creative reconstruction for what we do, and I think that's a great description of how we as musicians contribute to a project like this. Music performance is an ephemeral act, but through that act we can transform something that is perceived as being in the past and bring it to the here and now. In our current situation, where we as musicians cannot perform together in front of an audience, this project has been a much needed reminder, at least for me, of the value of music and music performance and how it can connect us with our past and our shared humanity.
A Dämmerung von dem Appelplatz, a memory of the roll call. Moshe B. was born in 1926 in Rymanów, Poland, near the Czechoslovakian border. After imprisonment in several camps, Moshe survived the death march to Bergen-Belsen, where he was liberated by the British troops. In his testimony, Moshe remembers the grim experience of the daily roll call, Appellplatz in German, at one of the concentration camps. The commandant would order everyone to take hats off, Mützen ab, and to singen. Moshe pays tribute to one of his musically talented fellow prisoners, whose name remains unknown, who sang this song during the roll call.
Mein Herz tut mir weh, wo je helft mein Geschrei, als keiner tut mich nicht aus Herren, man tut mich nur jungen, ich fühl mich erschlagen, ich hab schon kein Koch mehr zu klären. De mens had kein Deje, weil die Runde mat Beie, in dem Herzen des Wort ich, ständig streben, zu genießen von Leben, ihr Herzen zu haben das Glück.
We will now hear the band perform the song.
Mein Herz tut mir weh, wo hält mein Geschrei, als keiner kennt mich nicht aus Herren. Man tut mich nur jung, ich fühl sich erschlagen, ich hab kein Koyach mehr zu klären. Der Mensch hat kein Teil bei der Runde mit Bein, auf welche Seite es wachsen. Tut ständig streben zu genießen das Leben, im Herzen doch hat das Glück. Mensch, du bist doch narrisch, vergess nicht von dem, was dein ganz Gewein ist nur Erd und Lehm. In Stoppen der Beitel meinst du ist Glück. Vergess nicht, du gehst nacket, in die gehst nacket zurück. Mag sein reich wie Korach, sich Boden im Glied, bleibst du als derselber Ora, wenn man ruft dich zurück. In stoppendem Beitel meinst du ist Glück. Vergess nicht, die gehst nacket, in die gehst nacket zurück. Mag sein reich wie Korach, sich Boden im Glied, bleibst du als derselber Ora, wenn man ruft dich zurück in stoppendem Beitel, meinst du ist Glück. Vergess nicht, du gehst nacket, in die gehst nacket zurück. Vergess nicht, du gehst nacket, in die gehst nacket zurück.
Sasha Lurje is the lead vocalist of this project. She's truly a creative force standing behind many of the ideas you will hear in this new program. Sasha, I would like to ask you to share a few words about your work in this project.
Thank you, Zisl. Well, it definitely has been, am I still there? Just double checking, yeah. Okay, all right. So it definitely has been a privilege, a great privilege to work with this project for many reasons. And first of all, of course, is the group of musicians and artists and scholars that I got to work with on this. As a singer, I feel that learning these songs from real people, even on recordings and video, brings a different level of connection to their stories and their personal lives and personal voices. And by exploring the wide range of repertoire styles and languages that the people that were interviewed in these testimonies were fluent in, we get a distinct picture of what it meant to be a Jewish person before Khurkum, before World War II. Jewish people were integrated into the society around them and were polyglot, not only in languages, but also in styles of music, literature, art, and all the various cultures around them. Going between Yiddish, German, Polish, Russian, or even other languages wasn't a special, unique thing. It was just part of how the world functioned. And I get to have this unique chance to try out these different voices, cultures, and styles, and feel them through my own voice. It definitely has been a deeply interesting and moving challenge to take on. And by bringing these songs to concerts and recording them, we bring new life to the stories that people shared in their testimonies. We bring these stories to people, and it's so important that these stories and sounds get heard. And as Zisl has already mentioned, it's sad to know that a lot of these situations, a lot of these stories are topical today. But learning this, performing this, listening to this helps us remember, share our feelings and experiences, and live through the experiences of people that were interviewed. And I hope that it will help us learn how to be a better human.
Thank you, Sasha. Kiddush Hashem. This is another song remembered by Moshe B. He sang it as a tribute to Zhelazny, possibly a former synagogue cantor, a talented singer in Moshe's own words. While one can define this piece as a ballad due to its great dramatic intensity, it can be also categorized as an operatic scene. Such songs would typically be performed in cantor's concert on Motzei Shabbos after Shabbat. In this piece, the dramatis personae include the congregation, der ganze Oilem, the old cantor, der alte Chazen, the evil Gentile sailor, der Proster Matros, the old rabbi, der alte Ruf, and an old blind Jew, Aida Zokna Blinder, who ultimately sacrifices his life to save the community. This is one of a series of dramatic and dramatized Ashkenazic Jewish ballads that are not coincidentally set on the eve of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. This theatrical song, performed by Moshe in manner almost identical to our recording, cuts a nearly operatic scene that belongs to the Eastern European Jewish musical tradition, while also resonating with a kind of Brechtian theater along the lines of what we would hear from Kurt Weill.
Die Sonne ist verschwunden, der Tag ist weg. Die Nacht von Kol Nidre ist gekommen, und gebracht mit sich viel Schreck. Das kleine Besmidrischel wie ein Besäulam, versammelt hat sich dort das ganze Eulam in der alter zerbrochene Schien. Teichen Tränen gießen sich von sehr in derselber Zeit hebt sich im Schrei. 1, 2, 3, 4, es öffnet sich die Tür, es kommt herein ein Proster Matros. Ha, 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 ha! Wie schmutzig ist hier in diesem Lokal. Wer ist Verwalter von diesem Lokal? Der alte Ruf, es geht doch schwer, im Wischen sich die Tränen in die Augen. Fragt was verlangt ihr, Herr? Ich hab hier in der Synagoge einen Spion versteckt. Will ich den Spion nicht gewinnen, will ich die Synagoge mit euch alle Juden verbrennen. Euer Charlotte sich bei Porzellan, das Gedachten, in ganzem Bringen steht mit jüdischen Kindern, oi, Spion, heut in der heiligen Nacht. Schad! Raboi sei, das bin ich. Ich will starten. Azoi schreit euch, sei jeder Sogner Blinder. Ich will starten für euch Männer auf Kiddush Hashem. Euch gehen für ein Himmel, der Schossen an Rachmanes, an der jüdischer Held. Als Held hat das jüdische Volk noch nicht gehabt. In der Oilem Schien, in der Slavistiker Frie, weint und klugt, wenn der alter Hasen sucht. Kol nidrei.
Joseph W. was born in Lodz, Poland, in 1929, where when Nazi occupation began, he and his family were locked in the ghetto. One of Joseph's brightest memories was Yankele Hershkovitz, who composed many songs in the Lodz ghetto and was famous as the ghetto troubadour. Stubenälteste, a Yiddishized version of the German Stubenälteste. The original meaning of the term was a senior soldier in the barrack room. In the concentration and slave labor camps, the word meant capo, a prisoner functionary assigned by the SS guards to supervise forced labor or carry out administrative tasks. Stubenälteste, the room leader, was the lowest rank. The next one was Blockälteste, referred to in this song as Blokovo, the block or the barrack senior. The highest position of a Jew in a camp would be a capo, Lagerälteste, the camp senior. The discovery of the version of Stubenälteste in Joseph's testimony is particularly important, as the survivors themselves seem to want to forget this repertoire and did not sing this song in the post-war period, as far as we know. So let's hear a clip from Joseph's testimony.
Stubenältester, gibst du Gefällster, einen Masub in den zweiten Apatsch, o hält mich schreien, sind Stutze Kajen, Umaraba ein jeder Rizachvat.
Stubenelsto conveys the grim reality of the unbearable conditions at the camp. The Yiddish lyrics carry a strong influence of German as well as camp slang. It would be hard, if not impossible, to properly transcribe and understand the song, if not for the good chance that we received the assistance of Samuel Norwich, the publisher of the foreword. Norwich was born in 1947 in a DP camp in Germany, where such slang was still in use. The Freilachs-like feeling of the song, as sung by Joseph in his testimony, becomes a vehicle for the dark humor that saturates the lyrics.
Treffst die einem Schlufen, wie bei sich im Bett. Stubenelste, gibst du gefällste, einem Azug und dem zweiten Apatsch. Bei Heid nicht schreien, sie ist nicht du zu keien, und mar aber ein jeder ist Achwat. Kim der Mittagsschuh, wer ich gehen und gru, läuf ich dort und du, schreit auf der Glocke, wo will Rock'n'Roll. Sucht man Metall, jeder sich eilt, Kruppe, Kaschenpanne, Kartoffel und Gescheit, Stub und Elste, gibst du gefällste, einem Azug und dem zweiten Apatsch. Oi, heet nicht schreien, sie ist nicht du zu keien, und Maraba, ein jeder ist Achwat. Jatschedam, Stubenelste, gibst du gefällste, einem Azug und dem zweiten Apatsch. Oi, heet nicht schreien, sie ist nicht du zu keien, und Maraba, ein jeder ist Achwat. Stubenelste, gibst du gefällste, einem Azug und dem zweiten Apatsch. Oi, heet nicht schreien, sie ist nicht du zu keien, und Maraba, ein jeder ist Achwat.
I have worked with Craig Gittleman, a truly versatile violinist, for many years in the klezmer band Litvakus, and I have been always fascinated by Craig's energy and his sound, which was exactly what I was looking for, and also his willingness to go in depth with any material that we were working with. I would like to ask Craig to share his perspective on working on Songs from Testimonies.
Thanks, Zisl. First of all, I want to thank you and all of my wonderful colleagues in the band, as well as Stephen Nairn and all the people who work on the Fortunoff archive itself, and especially the people who had the presence of mind to record these testimonies in the first place. As Zisl has so clearly articulated, this collection of music draws on an endless amount of sources and references, both Jewish and non, and that is certainly one of the most striking things for me when I think about this collection as a whole. However surprising this diversity might seem, it's actually just what we should expect. If you study Yiddish music, you quickly learn that while there's definitely a way to play with a Yiddish accent, Yiddish music, like the language itself, has always been a conglomeration and a reframing of cultures it is embedded in. So often we picture Ashkenazim in isolated shtetl, existing in some sort of primordial, pure state, but in real life, they were always in contact with their neighbors, and many lived in cities, and in fact, much of Yiddish culture was completely imbued with cosmopolitan and international influences. Part of what makes understanding and expressing Yiddish culture so difficult is the amount of contextual knowledge required to really understand it. This is challenging in any project, but I think for us, as you can see, it has been one of the greatest challenges. Taking a fragment of a poem or a song sung without accompaniment during an interview and searching for a way to transform it into something someone can listen to in their own living room and even enjoy, while still honoring the original meaning and context of the song. Whether it's a song about life in the camps, a popular drinking song of its day, or even an anti-Semitic song that somehow remained in the memory of a survivor, word for word. One might think that after the incredible betrayal these survivors must have felt from their country, they would have refused to speak these languages and sing the songs of their neighbors. Yet even in these darkest moments, when it must have felt clear that a person's Jewish identity would always be a barrier to their national identity in the eyes of their countrymen, the core of our culture was and remains something that is in conversation with the outside. This is of course true not only for Jewish or Yiddish culture, but for all cultures. And I hope that our performance of these songs helps to remind us all of that. Well, I've been studying and performing Yiddish music for a couple decades now. I mostly have stayed away from explicitly Holocaust-related material, preferring to study, perform, and celebrate the culture that lived vigorously before this travesty, and is once again today only growing stronger. So often in the America I grew up in, if we did encounter things that were identifiably Yiddish, it was in the context of the Holocaust and associated with feelings of grief, victimhood, and loss. I choose to engage with this culture to reclaim my inheritance, to find life, to give context to my own experience, and to honor those who came before me. However, working on this project and trying to understand the context of the songs and the people who recounted them has been hugely enriching, if a bit challenging at times. The scope of the Holocaust makes it almost impossible to comprehend, but these songs draw us into the specific experience of individuals and even into specific moments in their lives. I strongly encourage you all to take some time to watch the testimonies, which are available on the archive website, so that when you think about this horrific chapter in our history, the first image in your mind perhaps won't be mountains of dead bodies, but rather the faces of people strong enough to survive it. I'm so grateful for the way this project has been framed, and I hope that as you're watching these videos, you're able to get a sense not of how small and confined were the experiences of the victims of this atrocity, but of how big was the world that they carried inside themselves, and how interconnected it was and remains, despite the continuing efforts to claim culture and land as the sole property of just a few. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, well, amazing. Well, I guess we'll move on. The next song, O Himmelin, is a powerful, chilling song recounted by Moshe F., born in Uniejów, Poland in 1913. When Moshe arrived in Auschwitz, he met a man by the name of Meyer Bear Gutman, or Gutman probably, who could write. He wrote two poems, Azoi wie ich bin nach Auschwitz gekommen, when I came to Auschwitz, and Himmelin, O Himmelin, wie ist mein Glück, Heavens, O Heavens, where is my luck? Both were set to the melodies of popular songs of the period. The first one was originally a rejoicing song that recounts all the Jewish holidays and celebrates how it is good to be a Jew. Ach, wie wohl und ach, wie geht es zu sein a Yid. And the juxtaposition of this new text and the old melody creates a sense of tragic irony that likely would have been clear to the listeners of the time. The second tune and verse, which gives the title to this composition, uses the melody of a popular song, Wo ist das Gessele, wo ist die Stieb? Где эта улица, где это дом in Russian, or Gdzie jest ta ulica, gdzie jest ten dom in Polish. Where is that street, where is that house? It was a very, very popular song.
Also wie wir seien nach Auschwitz gekommen, Freuen und Kinder hat man zugenommen, doch gewohnt a größer Tumu in a halbe Schuh, weil wir seien Emu.
wir seien noch Auschwitz gekommen, Freunde und Kinder hat mit Ziegen nehmen, ist dort geworden a größer Tumult in a halbe Schuh, weil wir sein in Himmel. In die Nacht auf die Mares leg mir weg, dich pendelig die Tare, schlafen mit Hoffnung auf dem Herzen, auf der Frei, weil wir sein in Kerzen. In die Nacht auf die Mares leg mir weg, dich pendelig die Tare, schlafen mit Hoffnung auf dem Herzen, auf der Frei, weil wir sein in Kerzen. O himlen, wo is mein Glück?
I've had an honor of working with the bassist Dmitry Ishchenko on a wide range of projects, from klezmer band, he the substitute bass player in Litvakus band, to improvised music. Dmitry plays in Zisl Slepovitch Trio along with the wonderful guitarist Nadav Lev, to musical theater, Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish being one of the more recent productions, and more. It is truly my pleasure to ask Dmitry to share his story of working on Songs from Testimonies.
Thank you so much, Zisl. Well, it has been a real true honor for me to be part of this project. And it really has exposed me to a whole wide variety of music in a multitude of languages that comes out of the Holocaust era. And not all of it being sad, some of it being quite hopeful and optimistic. And from a personal perspective, for me, it's a dedication to the Jewish side of my family that hails from Odessa, Ukraine, and the surrounding areas, and their struggles during that era, and to the several relatives that I know of who have perished during that time at the hands of the Nazi allies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitya. This next song, Hey Tam na Górce, Hey There on the Hill, was drawn from the testimony of Yakov B. Yakov was born in Hrubieszów, Poland in 1926, the youngest of 3 children. He first attended a Jewish school, but then underwent a compulsory transfer to the public Polish school. From those years, he remembers walking around the town with the girls and learning funny and frivolous songs from them. Hey Tam na Górce is a traditional Polish song with a pronounced 3/4 dance feel. This inspired us to pair the song with an oberek dance tune from the microregion Rezyczyca, a town near Jakov's hometown of Hrubieszów.
The song belongs to the group of light-hearted Polish songs about a soldier flirting with a young girl. We suspect that Yakov B might have added his own name to the song lyrics. It's impossible to know if the original version of the song used the Jewish name Yakov or Yankel, or the Polish name Jakub.
Hej tam na górce przy bramce, hej tam na górce przy bramce stoi tam Jakub na rance stoi tam Jakub na rance. A stary żołnierz pilnuje, pilnuje, a młody Jankiel caluje, a młody Jankiel caluje. Nie caluj tyle, tycha mnie, nie caluj tyle, tycha mnie, bo to opowiem twej mamie, bo to opowiem twej mamie.
This next piece, Chłopek Roztropek, is composed of two songs from two different testimonies. One is a satirical Polish song. Chłopek Roztropek is a village hustler, overheard in the streets of Warsaw by Zalman H., then a little boy born in 1929. The song's general concept is poking fun at uneducated yet street-smart peasants. Zalman did not remember one of the lines that were able to discover in a source that contained the full text. As the character is ironically making fun of his girlfriend, pointing out that she dresses too fancy, she fires back, noting that her Wojtek bought a fur coat from the Jew in the ghetto. It was obviously a cheap coat, and he didn't see anything particularly immoral about this purchase. In my arrangement, I have cut the song's lyric at that dramatic turn and transition to the next picture from exhibition, so to speak, from a testimony given by Kalman A.
Kalman was born in 1928. A native of Kaunas, Lithuania. He remembers one verse of a song portraying a strict Polish collaborationist who is guarding the entrance of the ghetto. He suddenly becomes happy when he sees an opportunity to get a cut of what is likely food being illegally smuggled into the ghetto. The characters of both songs represent the same figure, a non-Jew former neighbor who, under new circumstances, doesn't mind benefiting personally from the misery of Jews. The moral opposite of those who risk their lives by hiding their Jewish neighbors from the Nazis.
Chłopek roztropek, mieszkam se w chałupie. Życie nie jest takie jak w Warszawie głupie, bo nam chłopom dzisiaj na wsi dobrze się powodzi, a u was w Warszawie drożyzna niedługo zagłodzi. Wywieźli listę z tej Warszawy meble i ubrania, także nie ma tanamnicy już do sprzedania. A my wasze fortepiany w stodołach trzymamy, bo na tyle różnych gratów już miejsca nie mamy. Frajery albo głupie chamy, a ja mówię, że my swoje kiełby we łbie mamy. Bo jak przyjedzie ta na wieś rąbankę kupować, to musi ta pół dnia za to forsę nam rachować. samej wsu nigdzie nie jedziewa, ale zasłoninę skórę dziesiątą ściągniewa. A wam jeszcze w tych pociągach wszystko zabierali, a chłopi sobie cieniki forsą napychali. Myślę sobie, to ci czasy, jak to piorun liśnie, jak ja zobaczyłem Kasię w jedwabnej bieliźnie.
Nie wyśmiewaj, mój Wojtusiu, boś nie lepszy przecie, boś sobie niedawno pół roku był w getcie.
The last song in our tonight's concert is Shray Hertsele Shray, Cry My Heart, Cry, the title track on the second volume of Songs from Testimonies. In interwar Europe, including the Soviet Union, Latin American music was immensely popular. It is no surprise that some songs of survival and resistance during and after the war adapted popular Latin American tunes to new lyrics and became widespread as new pieces. The musical origins of the so-called Treblinka song lie in Tango Oración, composed by the prominent Argentinian composer and tango orchestra director Eduardo Bianco. While the Treblinka song is based on Oración, it has its own distinct feel, tempo, and form.
We find this song in more than one testimony, both in the Fortunoff, two testimonies in the Fortunoff Video Archive and in the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum collection. It was sung by Maurice K., that version we use as the main reference for this recording. Willie F., who presents a short fragment from the song, and Frida Bursztyn-Radasky, who sang a fuller but also a slightly different version titled Treblinka dort, There Lies Treblinka. The song conveys the story of frequent deportations from Warsaw's Umschlagplatz to Treblinka, as seen and felt by the ghetto prisoners. Maurice K., born in 1917, heard the song while he was still living with his family in his hometown Połaniec, situated more than 230 kilometers or 140 miles south of Warsaw, before they were ordered to leave in October 1942. Another survivor, Willie F., born in Jałoszyce in 1928, lived through the Kraków ghetto, Płaszów, Skarżysko-Kamienna, and Buchenwald concentration camps. He learned the song in Kraków, Płaszów area, which is even farther away from Warsaw.
Es ist ein Sturm auf der Welt herabgegangen. Es haben Völker verwandelt Länder. Und Rachmanes Jöscher die Chure gemacht der Welt. Die sind von Himmel herabgerissen und von Tod Dort, nicht weit, steht ein Umschlagplatz verleih. Wie man stiebt sich in der Bereich zu die Waggone. Dort hört man ein Geschrei, wie ein Kind schreit zu der Mama. Wie loste mich allein, lass mir gehen zusammen. Die Polizei, sie haben geheißen schneller gehen. Die West nicht leiden mehr kein Neu. Die West bekämen 3 Bräu. Sie haben nicht gewiss, als sie gehen auf Aschnem Teut. Tribbelinke dort, für jeden Jid a Gitte oh. Ich du dort, man kann nicht schreiben mehr kein Wort. Es kommt dahin, verbleibt man dort, dort in Treblinike, das Herz die zwei, wie man hielt sich noch der Monat von Tate, Mama, kein Treblinke Samen. Shray Hertsele Shray, Hertsele zug nicht aus, als die bist da hit. Schwester und Brüder, Tate, Mama, alle gehen zusammen, alle gehen zusammen, als die bist da hit. Shray Hertsele Shray, Hertsele zug nicht aus, als die bist da hit. Shray Hertsele Shray, Hertsele zug nicht aus, als die bist da hit. Schwestern, Brüder, Tate, Mama, alle gehen zusammen, alle gehen zusammen, als die bist da hit. Shray Hertsele Shray, Hertsele zug nicht aus, als die bist da hit. Als die bist da hit.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. I would like to remind you that you can access Songs from Testimonies, Volume 2, as well as Volume 1 at songsfromtestimonies.org, which will lead you to the dedicated webpage at Fortunoff Video Archive. You can download the album also along with the Volume 1 at zisl.bandcamp.com. Stephen is now copying those links into the chat, so you can click through. The vinyl LPs and the CDs are still in production for the Volume 2 and will become available shortly. However, Volume 1 LPs and CDs are available in limited quantities. Tonight's artists were Sasha Lurje and the Zisl Slepovitch Ensemble, Joshua Kemp on the accordion and keyboard, Dmitry Ishenko on the contrabass, Craig Yudelman on the violin, and guest artist Mariana Slepovitch on the cymbal. I am Zisl Slepovitch and played the woodwinds, arranged the songs, translated the lyrics, wrote liner notes and conceived this program. Stephen Aaron is the director of the Fortunoff Video Archive for Holocaust Testimonies at Yale University. Dr. Gila Flom wrote an introductory note for this album, which is also available on songsfromtestimonies.org website. Video editing is by Magdalena Hutter, sound editing by Joshua Kemp. English subtitles are done by Sasha Lurje. The vinyl LP mastering, as well as vinyl and CD manufacturing and booklet layout, are all masterfully done thanks to the expertise of Jeff Mueller of Dexterity Press. The album art and animation, there is an upcoming animation which you probably saw on the social media advertisements, is done by Yulia Ruditskaya, a wonderful artist and animation artist living in Brooklyn, but also my expat from Belarus. Thank you very much again, and stay well, and see you next time, hopefully live.